Oh, Royal Sai, how are you all? This is your retirement in no time to exist.
Perfect.
Well, as I say, begin with question.
I have a question about, there's a book I was reading called An Evening with Christos, and it's channeled through somebody in Phoenix, Arizona. Several entities, the Father and Moses and Solomon and a bunch of these guys. Are these a direct connection with Sirius? Sirius civilization?
Allow me to say, it is more as a direct connection with what you term to be archetypal essential. I'll say essential, essence, personality, consciousness.
Is that like the idea of the idea expressed in there is like what they call the Father and or the Mother is the sort of an essence that created beings to populate that particular universe that they were creating.
Any sense?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So not directly serious.
No.
Okay.
Question.
Bashar, what did you mean by essential energy?
Essence.
Essential essence. What did you mean by that?
Essential, meaning essence. Meaning the idea in that way, as you understand a form of consciousness energy, which is, I'll say, made to personify or tailor in that way by your recognition of the essential energy, tailored in that way to form the idea of the personality identity. Understand this does not mean it does not have its own consciousness, only that it is in that sense malleable according to the perception in that way that you will have created your recognition of that energy for. You follow me? All right. Understand simply that there will be what you term to be subconscious self in that sense. It is, in a way, its own universe, contains its own essence consciousness, its own identity personalities in that way, and that you may recognize that when you are dealing in that way with what you term to be personality of that essence, of that level of consciousness, you are in many ways speaking directly to a form, an aspect of the overall mass consciousness of your planet.
Something else that occurred to me last night, having to do with the beings that I was telling you about Monday night.
Yes?
Okay, I had an interesting realization about their connection. They seem to be of a mass consciousness of that type with many, many, many planets. It's like they have a mass consciousness of their own as well.
All right, yes. Understand that any created or projected consciousness will also simultaneously possess its own self-aware consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm. And so it has its own connection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Yeah, sure. I had, last few days, I felt I've gone kind of into meditation. The name Jason came up for me a couple of times. I felt some energy in regard to that name. And I was wondering if you could tell me anything about it.
All right, now simply allow me to say there is much in the way for you if you wish to explore within enjoyment within that idea. You may understand the idea through this symbol first and explore through this doorway if you wish. There's a suggestion. You may simply understand it as the male aspect or personification of your own identity. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Question. Yes?
I had a very interesting dream that I wanted to discuss with you. When I awoke from the dream, the only thing that I carried back that I could remember in this consciousness was Ellie sitting on the chair next to the sofa at Margot's. And I thought, gosh, that's a curious thing. And so I said, like, what is it that, why did I remember this? What can you tell me about this? And these things started forming, these pictures. And I suddenly found myself sitting on this little golden footstool on this raised dais. And Ellie was standing out in front of me, and she had two bodies and one head. And I kind of interpreted that as that I know that she's going to be channeling soon, and that seems somewhat symbolic of that.
All right.
But the thing that I didn't understand is that I had my arm out in front of me with the palm up, and there was a string going from the center of my palm to the center of her head. And I don't understand the significance of that, and that it's like there's been like this throbbing in the center of my palm now since that. And sometime when I look at it, different things appear there. Like once I looked at it and I could see an eye, and another time I looked at it and it was spinning, and then it was like a black hole at one time. But it just throbs, and I don't.
All right, understand that each and every one of those symbols will represent to some degree the idea of an energy doorway. Understand in that way you may, I'll say, know that you have created a link, in that sense, with her as a symbol, in that way, of a certain type of development, which you are also exploring, but from another facet, another aspect. Understand that you are linked in that way, and that you can be support, in that sense, for each other.
For Ellie and I.
Yes.
What was the significance of the little gold footstool? Can you get anything on that? It seemed, when I looked at it, I could see the carvings on the legs on it, and it looked Egyptian, or it appeared Egyptian. I don't know what's significant about it.
It will be a little bit of the idea, in that sense, of the support of yourself through a past idea of yourself, and a present recognition of that ability that you have now within yourself to form a real foundation for this life based upon your knowledge of those abilities within you. Oh, thank you. Question?
Yeah, I had another experience today where I felt that I was sitting, like, gone into a meditation with my eyes closed. My head was straight, but yet it felt like my head was tilted, and it felt as if my consciousness was moving away from my body, even though my head was straight. And then I also had this image of my head just kind of being chopped off and falling to the ground, but it didn't hurt or anything. It was just, I had no head, but I wasn't the body anyway, so it didn't matter. I was just kind of watching it. It felt good. And I was wondering if you could tell me more about that.
No comment really necessary. Understand that your feelings, in that sense, are simply the feelings of the exploration you were willing to undertake. Simply continue to do so.
Okay. I have one other question. This idea of Jason, does this, even though I understand the idea of that being the male aspect of myself, but since it is an idea, does that idea exist also independently of me as a personality?
In a sense.
Oh, okay.
Question?
Yeah, I have a question. I was paging through the book called The Raw Materials, and it talks about many of the things you've mentioned before about negative energy and all that various other kind of material. You brought up one word called the Wanderers, who are a number of people who are on this planet from fourth densities who have somehow got stuck here. Is much of the stuff he writes about accurate from your side?
Understand that in that way, as you understand the term, there will be, as you say, high degree of accuracy, but understand there is also, to some degree, interpretation in that way. That will be because of your own perspectives. But the energy, essence, in that way, the communication, in a general sense, is accurate, yes.
He also talks about quarantine that has been placed in this on this planet.
In a sense.
In a sense. And I suppose from what you've been talking about, this quarantine will be lifted soon.
In a sense.
In a sense.
Again, understand that the idea will be in accord to whatever vibration, whatever reality you choose to identify with. You are going to, in that sense, break your own quarantine, but understand it is not quarantine as you understand the word exactly. It is simply a definition, in a sense, of the idea represented by a particular vibration. The identification to a particular vibration will then exclude all other vibrations of unlike quality. Question.
I had something to share.
All right.
On Monday night, Monday afternoon, I had a very strong feeling of wanting to go to the challenge on Monday night. And my car was broken down, and I also had a big typing job to do, and I called somebody for a ride, and he wasn't going to go, so I just thought, that is too much trouble, there's kind of an easier way. Then, one thing is sometimes when there's kind of a sense that I really want to go to a challenge, I get a cough that kind of comes out of my chest, And then as soon as I decide definitely to go to the challenge, the cough goes away. So I just coughed and I decided to go to the challenge, so the cough went away. And then I decided, no, screw it, I can't go, it's too much trouble, and I realized, well, I don't have to go there physically to be able to participate. And so about 7:30, I started getting this headache, and I started getting real tired. And so I went and lay down, and I took a nap. And I slept straight through from 8 to 10. And I had a ball. And I haven't the faces, I didn't bring any of it back consciously. I didn't want to. Have no need to listen to the tape. I had a great time. It was the most, it was just a really fun participation. That was just a neat freedom to realize, you don't have to physically cart yourself around and having fun.
Thank you. Very good. Allow me to say in that way, then, your energy formed a portion of the blending of that idea of that evening of your time.
Yes.
Thank you. Question.
I have a very simple question.
All right.
Why are we here?
You tell me. You chose to be here. Why are you here?
I can't remember why I chose to be here.
That is part of the idea of being in physical reality. Not remembering consciously.
So should I just have fun with that?
Thank you. Understand again that your reality, what you have created for yourself, is a perfect reflection of the unfoldment of your own self-chosen purpose for this life. Therefore, simply allow your reality to be that unfoldment, to be that reflection. Simply take it for granted that there are no interruptions, you are never off track, your timing is always perfect, and simply enjoy what is unfolding as the unfoldment of the purpose you have chosen. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes, you said at one time that there was another planet here where Earth is.
In a sense. Understand it as a different vibratory form in that way.
Uh-huh. And second dimensionality lies behind?
Yes, in a sense.
Well, when we make the switch to fourth dimensionality, will that be on a different planet then also?
To some degree. Understand you're always forming in that way what you term to be parallel alternate existences. You will simply be forming another magnitude of that idea. A mass conscious magnitude of that idea. And it will, to some degree, then vibrate in accord to a different reality, which will then be connected to many different civilizations round and about you. You will then be able to perceive them.
Oh, really? You said also some of the people will remain in third dimensionality and some will make the transformation.
Everyone in that sense will make the transformation. Some will simply choose, in that sense, to continue in what you term to be third dimensionality. You follow me?
I'm not sure.
It's very simple. Understand that you, as an agreed upon interacting mass consciousness, composed of many ideas you call individuals, have all agreed to be here now to make the transformation. Mm-hmm. Some will simply make that transformation in ways that will still allow them to partake of ideas which are third dimensional. Mm-hmm. They will be creating their own parallel three-dimensional existence.
Okay.
facets of them be in the three-dimensional existence and other facets of them be in the fourth-dimensional existence?
Yes, you have facets in every level. Simply depends on which facet you choose to look through. They will be looking through third-dimensional facets. Many of you will be looking through fourth-dimensional facets. Are you through?
For now.
All right, question.
So the main difference is just the difference in viewpoint, yes?
That is the only way that there is what you call difference. You follow me?
Yeah.
The idea you call difference simply is different point of view within the one, homogeneous, all that is. Question.
So, talking about the transformation, would this be a fairly accurate analogy that it's like when a person, it's kind of like a death and a rebirth, like a person dies and it's kind of an agreed upon that all the consciousness and the energy that makes up the body, well, it now has a choice. You kind of all stuck together through that one life, and then now you've got a choice. You can choose another life on the same planet, or you could go somewhere else. There's all these different choices that all the different, that all the consciousness that made up that one entity could then make at that point.
In a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Dissimilar, yes, by analogy.
Right.
Thank you. Question.
There's not necessarily death, though, involved in the transformation, right?
Only in a sense. Understand that you always, every moment of time that you create to exist, are recreating yourself. Totally. Physically. In every way. Your entire reality, your entire universe is recreated from moment to moment to moment to moment.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it is that idea. That in the next moment, you will have another universe. You follow me?
Yes, that was pretty quick then.
Understand that it will be in whatever gradual succession you deem comfortable.
Uh-huh.
For some individuals, it will be from one moment to the next. What you term to be revelation. For some, it will be more gradual as they create an idea which their consciousness can absorb in that way. It will be different from moment to moment nonetheless. They will simply be making less of a perceptual difference within those successions of moments that they create. Until slowly, in their perception, it blends into the new overall idea, the recognition of the new mass consciousness.
Well, those people who make the change very suddenly, will they be vibrating in a different reality and no longer be able to work or to relate to those people around them that have not made the change?
In a sense, yes. But understand that you do that anyway.
Well, will they not even be able to know that they're there?
In a sense, that may happen as well. There is that opportunity, in that sense, to completely disconnect yourself in such a way that you are no longer perceptual. You follow me?
And other people just think they disappeared?
Yes. You follow me?
Yeah, I think so.
Understand that that has happened from time to time on your planet.
But that will possibly start happening much more frequently now.
To a degree, but understand that as your mass consciousness recognizes that en masse, you will simply go together and not disappear from each other. It is the awareness of those ideas that will pull your mass consciousness through all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Yeah, I have a question related to that. Sometimes you hear reports about children disappearing, and then some are found, or some are found either alive or not alive, and some are never found. And some that are never found, do some of them go to another dimension?
Only very, 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 very few.
But a few do.
A few. Children and adults. A few. Very, very, very few. Question.
I've read several instances of where people died and then came back to their body.
Yes.
And they described that they went through a tunnel with a bright light at the end of it.
Yes.
What's that all about?
It is, again, simply the physicalized interpretation of reaching the center of yourself. You follow me?
Yes, thank you.
Question.
Talking about looking at things through certain facets.
Yes.
You can look through things, look at things. You don't have to look through only one facet. You can look through an infinite number of facets.
In a sense. But understand that what you describe in that way as the projection of your consciousness into physical dimensionality, many times by definition, is simply looking through one facet at a time. Since you create the idea of time. You follow me?
Yeah, I follow what you're saying. But it's not necessarily true.
Understand simply that by definition, the idea of when you look through the physical, limited facet, you are, to your seeming consciousness, there and only there at that moment. You may then pull out and look through other facets, but in the moments that you extend into what you term to be the physical facets, they will seem to be isolated moments in which you are nowhere else. You follow me? If you are perceiving more than one, you are not completely projecting through a total physical facet.
Right. So, but that would just be a matter of choice.
Yes.
Right.
If you're perceiving more than one, then you're probably going toward the fourth dimension.
Yes. Simply understand that by your definition, it was not that you can in that way look through any facet and feel the same experience. You follow me? You may look through any facet, but some facets may not allow you to feel the experience that you are looking through every facet, because that is the definition of that facet, not to feel the connection.
Right. But there's
Does not mean you are not doing it. Simply means you may not be aware of it consciously.
Right. But there's a whole another way of being where you are aware of it.
All right, to a degree, but again, understand each and every idea is its own idea.
Right, so that's a totally different idea.
Yes.
Right.
Then that will be a totally different facet.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me?
Well, yeah, in other words, what you're saying is that would be then looking at it, that would be the idea of looking through several facets and several...
The idea of looking through several facets simultaneously is its own facet.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, yeah.
But then realize you are looking only through that one facet.
Sounds like semantics to me.
In a sense. But it is also a description of the idea of the energy distortions within the one all that is. It is the idea of viewpoint.
Right.
Question.
Bashar, once we were talking about dreams, and someone mentioned, that if they were in a dream, how did they stay in the dream? And you said something about think non-physical thoughts. Do you remember that?
In a sense, understand that you do not have non-physical thoughts exactly. Thoughts are physicality. Understand that the idea is not so much the staying in of that particular dream, but the awareness in that way that both your dream reality and your physical reality are both real and dreamlike. That you are always in a reality and always in a dream. You follow me?
Yes. What did you mean by non-physical thought?
It was simply a description, I'll say an easy translation, for the idea that within the dream reality you do not think but you know, but in the physical reality you may remember your knowing in the form of symbolic thoughts. You follow me? Therefore you can simply form a symbol of a non-physical thought. That will be the only way that your physical mind can relate to the idea of pure knowing, is to have a non-physical thought. Of thinking of yourself as a thought form in a world of thought forms. You follow me? Then you will be non-physical. Your thoughts will be non-physical. Your reality will be non-physical, but they will be real, even as you think them. Thank you. Question.
So do you think that we have more power if we are non-physical or physical?
Nope.
Does it matter?
Equal. Again, this is only a matter of how you choose to perceive yourself. Understand that the difference between non-physicality and physicality is only a matter of the idea of separation, the creation of the idea of separating the two for a particular experience. Understand you are equally powerful in the creation of your physical reality, since you are creating everything in it. Everything. You follow me?
Yes.
Therefore, it is equal. You are completely empowered and have total free will, freedom of choice, right here and right now. You are spirit, right now. Always will be spirit. Understand that physicality is only one idea that spirit has of itself. It is still spirit. Question.
Did the people on Sirius think of themselves as spirit?
In a sense, they recognize their connection to all levels of their consciousness, yet still create to some degree the ideas of the separate selves for the purpose of the interaction with many different levels, vibrations, realities, consciousnesses within all that is. But they are, I'll say in your terminology, far more malleable in their ability to project and shift their reality in that way. They are far, I'll say, more willing to be free, to tune in to any frequency. Question.
When we're talking about going from facet to facet, would that be similar to merging your dream reality with the with the actual reality we've got here?
In a sense. Understand that your dream reality, imagination reality, and physical reality are different facets in a sense. You follow me?
Yeah.
They are different aspects of one reality. That reality is you. Your awareness of yourself. Your consciousness.
I was trying to figure out what we can do to accelerate that transition of the fourth.
There is no need to accelerate anything. The only thing you can do, in that sense, to accelerate, as you say, that transition, is to allow the life and the timing that is unfolding to be the right one. Then you will understand you are in perfect timing, and it will seem accelerated, because you are willing to go with your own flow. Time for you does not seem accelerated only when you are not willing to allow the life that is unfolding to be the right one. You follow me? It is very simple. Question.
Yes, I was reading something and I found this to be very interesting. The idea of choice. And what I understood and what I feel also myself about choice is that choice exists within something that we made up also, like time. And that really there is no choice, but there is. Like, it's hard to talk about, but it's like we have no choice but to be all that is.
Very good.
So there is really no choices except what we make up within our realm of time.
Very good.
Okay.
Choice in and of itself is also a symbolic concept. Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Question.
When you said in many senses the people on your planet are our future selves, do you mean that literally also?
That is one of the senses, yes. Understand that many individuals in that way that you call will have experienced upon your planet the idea of death and chosen what you term to be reincarnation upon our civilization. Then you may recognize that as a future self.
Have I?
Again, you may tell me.
I have no idea.
All right, then that will suffice for now. Understand that it is part of your own exploration to identify with the vibrations that strike chords within you or not. That is up to you. Understand that you are forming your future and your past right now. Therefore, it will depend upon what you feel in that way that you identify with in accord to the purpose within this here and now physical life. That will determine in that way the creation of your future selves and your past selves. Expand yourself within, and you will understand what you vibrate in accord to. Question.
Yeah, well, I have a statement.
All right.
The idea of choice and thinking that we have ways to go to get someplace. And as long as we think that way, we always will have a way to go. But if we just realize that if we choose to know that we're all that is, which is no choice at all because we are all that is, but given within our way we think, if we choose to know that, then we already are everything. It's like we don't have to, we can stop the whole cycle of feeling like we have to, we're going someplace or we're...
Now, do you understand why you may not have chosen any future lives?
Yeah.
Thank you. You are beginning to integrate your awareness into yourself as all that is right here and right now, this here and now present life. You are, in that sense, allowing yourself to recognize other ideas, other magnitudes of evolution, other than the idea of the repetition cycle you call reincarnation.
Even beyond reincarnating to other planets?
Yes. You are identifying with that essence. Thank you.
We have like 6 billion people here on this planet. You've got 55 million. I'm wondering, do you have a lot of beings waiting for bodies there? Or,
Not really, in a sense. Understand simply that, again, much of what you term to be our population physically is not upon the surface of the planet, but in space. And perhaps also within other civilizations. You follow me?
Yeah. But from what I gather here, there's a lot of beings waiting for bodies here, and we've got,
Only in a sense. Understand there are always in that way, not so much the idea of waiting, but simply that they are a part of the overall transformation, and simply know their timing. When to merge into the physicality for the purpose of their unfoldment. Not so much waiting in the idea, simply that they know their timing. You perceive it as waiting because you are already in time. They are not waiting. They are not tapping their astral feet. They simply blend when the timing is in accord with the purpose. Question.
So when you're talking about 300 years in the future or 600 years in the future, you're just speaking reincarnationally then?
In a sense, also we are speaking along the idea that you call the vibrational signature that you recognize as advanced.
Yeah.
Understand that everything is simultaneous. We coexist with you simultaneously. But in your understanding of our vibration, you think of it as 300 years in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Question.
Now I have a question.
All right.
Okay, you guys in Esasani, it sounds like you have an experience of all that is, as knowing that you are all that is.
All right, to some degree, there is the recognition of the consciousness which allows for that effect to manifest within the physical life. Does not mean in that way that we are completely in contact with that idea alone.
I guess what I'm saying is you're still in physical form. I'm
Yes.
thinking in terms of myself.
All right.
I would choose physical form if I wanted to. Right?
Very good. Then understand that it is not a case then of still being in physical form. It is the idea of a choice.
But you guys got to a point where you had a choice too. I mean,
We always have choice.
well, I know that. I mean, consciously. I mean,
Yes.
so you're.
Still recognizing the idea of our choice to exist within the physical form for the purpose of the integration in that way. Understand that to our awareness of ourselves our recognition of what you call our own civilization, we also, in that way, recognize that we have also a completely, in that sense, integrated version of our own civilization on another plane. And we are but one aspect of that overall consciousness as well. You follow me?
No.
Just as you have your own future mass consciousness,
Right.
thank you, we have our own.
Was it serious?
Only to some degree. We also have our own, as we recognize in our terminology the separation you call SSONI.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just as even though we are your future selves, you have your own, which you also call Earth.
Right.
Thank you. Question.
How long is the childhood on SSONI?
Childhood? In
Yes.
one sense, the entire lifetime.
How long does it take for their bodies to go to maturity?
All right. In a sense, you may understand that to some degree it will fluctuate from individual to individual, but there will be approximately what you call to be 12 of the years.
Wow.
In a sense. Understand that there is to some degree difference in the translation of what you call maturity.
How would that be?
Simply that there is the recognition of the ability, then, of the individual being to simply know fully, consciously, the purpose and have all of the resolution and the tools necessary to perform that purpose. Without, in that way, the connection or dependency upon what would be termed to be the parent.
Right. So after 12 years, they're ready to roll onto whatever they're going to do.
Yes. But always there is still much in the same way of the interaction, even for what you term to be the adult.
Right. But not in the sense of having to, not in the same sense.
Yes, thank you. Question.
It's Bashar. I had 3 mornings ago, had a really, really interesting bunch of changes happening.
A bunch? All right.
Flock of changes.
All right.
And part of it was I was feeling a very noticeable separation of my astral body from the physical body. And I also got 2 names or words.
2 vibrations, yes.
Yes. Vasquez was one, and the other one was Cota Vera. I started looking, and the concept that I got was that it was a geographical location. It had possibly something to do with crystals or something. But that's all I got. Could you give me any more information on that?
Kotavara, as you say, will have something to do with the idea of the crystalline forms within the symbology of the crystallization of yourself and your consciousness. The other one, in that way, will pertain to something we will not delve into completely, but simply that you may recognize it as a symbol form for yourself in a very humorous way. To lead yourself to explore certain other avenues within yourself again in a very humorous way. Yes. All right. Thank you. Question.
Another question.
All right.
I was that previous night. I was talking with my wife Lynn. We were talking about essences of being, or the concept of that, whether that was a viewpoint or not. We were just talking, and I had some very
everything is a viewpoint. Everything.
Even an essence.
Why not?
An essence of a being.
Why not?
That's what I thought. Anyway, she had a different.
can be viewed in many different ways other than the idea of viewpoint. But again, understand that what you're creating is your own viewpoint of that idea. Hence, it is a viewpoint.
Right. Okay. And I had this tremendous feelings of cold and fear and deathfulness and blackness, and which I've felt a few times in this lifetime. Any comment about that, or any enlightenment about that?
Enlightenment of the blackness.
I'll take anything, right?
All right. Simply that. Enlightenment of the blackness.
Okay.
As you have said. Allow yourself to understand that you have always, again, the idea within yourself, within any individual with which you interact, the total choice, in that sense, of the choosing positive or negative vibration. The integration of the two will be the enlightenment of the blackness. You follow me?
Yes.
Again, because you are recognizing you have begun to explore that integration, but you feel you are on shaky ground.
Yeah.
You have created for yourself the idea of the humorous lead. Vasquez.
Does
Follow
that
me.
Does that name have a symbolic significance, or is it just a name?
In a sense, it is both. It has symbolic significance for you since you have created it that way. Understand simply that it will involve to some degree the idea within your subconscious structuring of yourself that to explore that blackness is to go on an exotic adventure. You have created a portion of yourself to experience it in that way.
I see.
Thank you. Question.
I have an idea. I'm just curious if it matches up to the.
Just curious.
Yeah. No. What I wanted to do was, I know you don't make predictions, but if there was just to know if there was energy behind this idea.
Understand that predictions cannot be made.
I understand.
Thank you.
Okay. Here's what it is. All preliminary aside. That a planet. And it's going to be somewhat symbolic, but the planet is heading in this direction, and within maybe the next 25 years or something, will be there's a fear that it's going to smash with us. That's not the case. That it's heading in this direction to actually attach itself in a way, in the sense that within that time, or maybe about 25 years from now, that we Earth will become aware of this other civilization in the sense that you became aware of us and begin to, communicate.
Not so much it is heading in your direction as you understand the idea physically. You are simply connecting with the idea of your own time wave, the crest of the wave of your own transference and identification with that future self, just as you now occupy the idea of the space in which existed the second dimensional Akashiel. Then you will, in that sense, create for yourself the identification with this new space. You are, in that way, forming an integration with a mirror image self. In that way, the future self.
What?
Dimensional.
Yeah. What was that all about?
Understand why I've discussed the idea that, I'll say, in your phraseology, used to be another planet in your space.
Oh, okay, where the asteroid belt is. Right.
No. In your space.
Oh, okay.
Akashiel.
Okay.
Understand it as the different second level vibration of the idea which you became as a third level vibration. You are now being approached by your fourth level vibrational Earth, which you may call something else.
Oh, but I was, let's see. Yeah, but that's the one that people are going to be. I guess I was talking about this similar thing to your civilization getting in contact with ours.
All right, but understand that the idea of the other civilization in that way that you may be in contact with is not in that way approaching physically your planet.
Right, no, but all I'm saying is, okay, is that still it's from the sense of somebody that we have the consideration that is 300 years less advanced.
Yes.
Right. That's what you're talking about too?
In a sense, yes.
In what sense? And then we'll be able to participate in some of that.
Will depend upon their willingness, their allowance,
right.
their ability to identify in that sense with
right.
your vibration.
So it could be quite a long time. We might be aware of them, but it might be quite a long time before we interact.
Again, understand that it may be, may not be, but may be, again, the full 300 years.
Right, right. I got it.
Thank you. Question.
Bashar, is there any significance to the cycle of Halley's Comet that's arriving again this year?
Oh, no, none whatsoever.
Okay.
Has always been contained within all that is. Since it is now.
And so why do we go
Why
on?
or it is one idea. Why not? Personality. Understand, it will give you another opportunity to look at yourself from another viewpoint. Understand also that there will be within your mass consciousness still opportunities for you to understand in your terminology ways to work with that idea. You follow me? It will also lead to the particular perspective that you will allow yourself to have of what you term to be space travel. Since you have chosen to experience physical space travel. You follow me?
Yes.
To be personal. Do you wish to float?
Yes.
Go ahead. Understand that gravity, like any idea, is simply the idea of the recognition of a tonal vibration. A vibrational pattern of energy in that sense. And by identifying in that way with that vibration, by equalizing that vibration, you can in that sense also neutralize the effect of that vibration upon your reality.
Oh, good. Good point. Now, doesn't that like apply to everything?
Yes.
If you can completely understand a situation and therefore, sort of like possess the fullness of it,
Yes.
then that means that you can as well not have it.
Yes.
Now, is it on that? Oh, it is. Never mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Question.
We've been trying to find universal theory connecting energy and electromagnetism. Is there a connection? Can you tell me a connection that exists between gravity and electromagnetic energy?
Again, as we have just said, the main basic idea is that everything is vibrational. And you will understand simply that it will be in that way, that it is vibrational within the same field. Simply that the distortions or differences will be recognized as separate. You're now beginning to, in that way, recognize them as the same. When you allow it to be completely homogeneous in that sense, you will find your unification. Follow me.
Now, not really. I can see electromagnetic energy as being vibrational because it is, like light waves and so on. I can't see, and I can't see a relationship there at all between that and gravity.
It is simply a vibrational pattern of a different dimensional sort. That is all.
No, it's not sound and it's not electromagnetic, it's something else.
In a sense, when you allow yourself to conceive of the idea of the something else being the same as everything, then you will understand how they are the same vibration of different frequencies, different degrees. When you understand the primal vibration of all that is in that way, you will recognize any manifestation in that sense as simply another alteration of the primal vibration. Simply you are not willing at this time to understand how multidimensional those vibrations are. When you understand the multidimensional connection of your own consciousness, you will begin to recognize the multidimensionality of the vibration you call gravity, and then you will be able to look in all the different places that it has extended itself to, and recognize how it is connected in that way. Through doorways you are not simply allowing to be visible at this time, by not recognizing the multidimensional reality of your own consciousness as a whole yet.
So there's no way that the scientists, if they work within the matter, energy, space, and time universe, can come up with this unification.
In a sense, understand they are in that way coming up, as you say, with the idea of unification. But realize they are not coming up with it in that sense in the symbolic matter-energy universe. They are then translating what they have come up with into symbolic matter-energy mathematics. But it is their own perception which leads them to create the symbols to represent it.
So people are making progress in this area.
Always. Since that is, I'll say, something which has a lot of energy behind it. Thank you. Question.
Does the idea that you need something keep you from equaling its vibration?
Any sense?
Yeah.
You understand?
I think so. Yeah, I'm beginning to get that idea. Certain things, if I think I need them a lot, it sort of makes it harder to get them.
Yes.
If I just go about my own business and feel good about myself, I seem to have what I need.
Realize that when you recognize that you're already connected, you do not need it. You know you have it. You do not pay attention to that which you already own.
The word need implies a scarcity.
Yes. And if you believe it is scarce, then it will remain scarce, because that is your belief. The need is not the belief. You follow me? The need shows you that you believe it is scarce, and therefore it is.
Oh. Yeah.
Thank you. That is why you can view the idea of need not in a negative way, not as something to get rid of, but something to recognize as one more message to yourself about something that you believe about yourself, which allows you to then view how it is your belief and why your reality is following your belief perfectly.
So if I have the idea, for example, that I need more money, then I'm creating the idea that there's a scarcity of money.
And that is your reality.
Yes.
Thank you. It is very simple, you see.
Yeah.
Question.
Any tips on on how you would shift that?
Question.
Where would you answer that?
I already have.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah.
Question.
Oh, play along, Bashar.
You are all that is, period.
Thank you.
Question.
Why do I always get a headache when I listen to you?
In a sense, you are, I'll say, finding that you are willing, in the sharing of our consciousness, to begin allowing yourself to disconnect from one vibrational reality and reconnect to many more multidimensional aspects of yourself. But there is still within you some of the belief in that sense that you must remain fixed in one focus. And so there is resistance. Within the resistance there is tension. Within the tension there is the headache. It is the friction of two separate vibrational realities interacting with each other. You follow me?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to see how I can let go of that belief.
By simply allowing yourself to live through it. Experience it, not get rid of it. Allow yourself to recognize the idea of the blending. Allow yourself to imagine the blending in and of itself as a valid reality. Allow yourself to picture it, live through it, enjoy it, experience it in all of its multifaceted dimensional creations. Then you will be enjoying the experience and you will not have your headache.
The experience of
the blending in itself, yes, the shifting. If you recognize the idea of the tension, then by all means, sink within your tension in your imagination. Dive into it.
The tension?
Yes.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Feel the great energy within what you call tension. And know that it is simply another manifestation of the same creative energy which you are made of. You follow me?
Yeah, that helps. I feel like I can apply that to a lot of things where I thought, well, how do I integrate that? I mean, it's one thing to talk about integrating things, but sometimes I'm unsure of what you mean by that.
All right. Now you are sure.
More sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
Bashar, is that always true of any phenomena that you're finding on your horizon? That if you just completely let yourself sink into it, that
to experience your reality, not resist it, but experience it, is in that way simply the way that you will always create more reality to experience, and you will let your life move. Then you will always have a new horizon, as you will constantly be in orbit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question?
Well, not a question, but so if you're experiencing scarcity of money, then you just totally get into it.
Yes.
Totally get rid of
Then it will be enjoyable in that sense. It will become integrated within you. You will explore and find many different personality portions you had not seen were there, and you will understand how, now that you have passed through it, it is no longer a tool that you need.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. It is enjoyable.
Yes.
Like fully contacting it.
Yes.
That's an idea, or is it whatever
Yes,
it is?
yes, it is living it.
I thought, I guess, I had, without really realizing it, I allowed the idea that I'm not supposed to enjoy that. That's not supposed to be fun.
Oh, no. Yes, not supposed to be fun. Yes.
That's right. Oh, disgusting and degrading.
Yes. All those separate you from the opportunity of creating, in that sense, the positive side.
Oh, totally.
As you are not willing to experience the negative side as valid.
Just keep sticking there.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
I've found lately a lot of people that I know that have been coming to the channelings just have been associated with in the last several weeks are all experiencing this apparent poverty.
Right.
And
weekly fees coming up.
I just found it interesting that a lot of us were doing that.
You have created great abundance of poverty. It is one type of abundance. When it is also seen as equally valid to every other type of abundance, then you allow yourself to experience all other types of abundance as well. In that way. Thank you.
I'm going to spread the word to
Because we've all been kind of hiding it from each other, too. Nobody wants to admit it. They can't pay their rent, right? We all try to pretend we're still doing cool.
like spiritual bad breath, you know.
That's right.
lost $500 in silver last 2 weeks.
Understand that. All right. Many times when you find yourself unable, as you say, to pay your rent, it allows you the opportunity to create a reality in which that may not be necessary.
Yes, I'd like to share something from the last week or so.
All right.
My car broke down, and my husband's motorcycle was already broken down. And I am never without a car. My whole reality recently has been based on driving everywhere and just going here and going there, and never just staying in one place, not even for one day. And the car broke down, and I went, and there was a tendency to just want to freak out and frantically run around trying to get somebody to fix it, blah blah, and come up with the money and find the mechanic and blah blah blah, because I couldn't get through to my mechanic. And so I just thought, no, this is like, why don't I just let this go and see where it leads me, And so I just relaxed. I didn't even bother. I didn't bother getting the money, finding the mechanic or anything. I just kind of goofed off, slept in the morning, had friends over, and it took about a day of just totally withdrawal symptoms from being able to run around in my car. But it opened. It totally shifted my life because I had the car. I'd been running around and having a certain focus, and it totally shifted the focus. And number one, a bunch of people came over to my house instead of me having to run over to theirs.
Oh, my good.
And then and number two, it opened up a whole new area where a possibility of our family living with another family that I hadn't even met, and I love them, and the kids, and it seems like everything's just perfect and wonderful, and it'll work out great, and it's good for everybody. There's not even a single negative aspect anywhere in it, and it's like I never would have opened to that because I was looking so hard at the other possibilities.
Thank you.
That happen,
Thank you. Then there will be one more idea foundation within the idea you call poverty, as it will represent to you many times symbolically, as you say, having reached the bottom of your barrel. Understand that when you are at the bottom, in your terminology, then everything else is up.
Right. Right.
Therefore, every possibility becomes equally valid.
Yeah. Yeah. It also encourages, at least from my angle anyway, it encourages interaction with others.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Something, my car broke down at the end of January, and a friend of mine gave me her car. She has another car, and I've had it ever since that time, and she hasn't even asked for it back.
Very good.
What an incredible friend I have to just give me a car.
Oh, what a coincidence. One right after another. Thank you.
Now that I bought another car, I think I'll just give her car to somebody else.
All right, but you may wish to ask her first.
Somebody else gave me the money to fix my car.
All right, very good.
The delineation between who owns what, is starting to kind of slide a little bit, which I really enjoy.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, since you are all having such a good time, then there will be a few more minutes left.
Bashar, on your planet, do you live together in cities, or do you try to separate out and live in the country alone?
Again, many of us will experience variations of many of those ideas from time to time. Sometimes enjoying the idea of what you call city, although not so much like your cities. Many times wishing in that way to simply explore what you term to be countryside by the self. Will depend, as also it is with you.
What do you mean it's like, not so much like cities, but like cities?
There is not in that way what we term to be the tight clustering of buildings in what we represent as a city.
Okay.
And there is more the simplicity of form in what would be called the domed structure prevailing throughout.
Ah.
The geodesic type?
Not really. You will understand it in that sense as one seemingly seamless, homogeneous material of a span, which will be opaque in that way when we wish, transparent when we wish.
That's great.
There will be, in that sense, doorways or isolated windows in certain areas, again, when we wish. When not, it will appear seamless, impassable. Much in a way, again, like our spacecraft.
Is that totally controlled just by your own thoughts at that moment?
It is activated in that way through the connection of our thoughts with what is termed to be the computer.
I see.
As we recognize our ships in that way, in a sense, to be self-aware, only
The same with your houses then.
to a degree.
How?
The domes, do they contain large numbers of houses or just one house?
They are, in themselves, the house.
What about plants? Do you have plants?
Plants that will grow, as you say, naturally in many portions of our planet. We do not, in that way, pick them and bring them within. If they grow naturally within, then we enjoy those.
Do you have oceans?
Yes. Question.
Oh, Bashar, I want to share something.
Yes.
Remember the other night when I was talking about having contacted a master teacher self, Shatil?
Yes.
Okay. One of the experiences that I had with that consciousness was of having the body go in the water. And it was so incredibly wonderful because the water had an intense consciousness of its own. It was extremely aware.
Oh, very good.
It was aware of the body.
Oh, yes.
And the body itself was aware of the water, and we were aware of both of those things.
Yes.
Oh, it is so tremendous.
Thank you.
And whenever we rubbed our hand on a tree, and felt the bark, the outside of the tree, here it feels like, normally it just feels kind of, like rough and there's not much there, but the tree it was like this tremendous outflow of attention and touch back to the hand.
Yes.
Oh,
Understand that occurs upon your planet all the time. When you are willing to listen.
yeah.
When you are willing to feel. There is also in that way, as you have recognized it, perhaps not so much consciously, also a symbol in that sense in what you term plant kingdom, which will form the more direct link that you may communicate with in that way to what you term to be yourselves as nature, represented to you by what you call the pine. We will say that we have enjoyed that way, sharing our consciousness, and always to enjoy your willingness to partake of yourselves more and more, and in that way perform service to all that is, by simply allowing yourself to know that the granting of validity of every path within all that is, and the granting of validity to every situation within your own path, will be the blending of the consciousness which will allow for the recognition in that way of your connection to all that is, which will then allow us to share with you more expansion of our awareness in that way, creating more awareness in total of all that is for us to experience, as well as you. Therefore, we thank you for your gift, and we send you our love. We will say good night. All right, but understand again, every symbol that you give yourself, you do feel, has significance. Otherwise, you would not have created it.
I see.
Understand, it is, in that way, symbolic, always symbolic of the idea of transformation. Your own recognition that you have given yourself the opportunity, in that sense, to create cycles of energy and patterns for yourself within your mentality. Therefore, you will always understand that you have ascribed within the way you, I'll say, used to think of yourselves, to the comet, the idea of the portent of doom, the change, the shift, the destruction, the passing through, the right, the initiation, the death, the rebirth. These will all be significant within your understanding of yourself as you have created this cycle. Thank you. Question.
Sure, I get an intense sensing that you do not seem so much 300 years in our future at this moment.
All right.
I like that.
Why?
Well, because it puts us more on equal footing.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
We can be co-friends.
Thank you.
You know what I mean.
Yes. Thank you. Question.
I wanted to explore the idea of serious connection with this planet at this time.
Why?
Because I enjoy it.
All right. Why else?
Well, I'll tell you what brings me to talk about this.
All right. Thank you.
Is that what you want? Okay.
Yes.
I'm getting to it. Is that I have been receiving communication, through the physical universe as well as otherwise, of people that are starting to get in contact. There's a bunch of excitement surrounding the whole idea of dolphins, and
Yes.
some guy in Australia that's been in contact, and he's starting this whole dolphin dreaming thing. His name is Peter something or other, but it's a real trip, and what I get is like this kind of an awakening. One thing he says is that the whales kind of like created themselves in this idea of sacrifice, you could say, just that there was enough killing of whales that it kind of woke people up, or caused this change of consciousness to come about, and a lot of those whales came back as humans.
Not in a sense.
Okay. But they are interacting though.
Yes.
Okay. And people are feeling that. Anyway, they're feeling that kinship.
Yes.
Okay. And so I feel that that's kind of, the sort of, I don't mean this in like a separational sense, but like a dolphin brotherhood or something,
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I just think that's very fun, but it's, so all I'm saying is that there's, in addition to the contact with your civilization, there's active contact going on with a lot of people with the Sirius civilization.
In a sense, yes. Much of it is what you term to be un or subconscious.
Yeah. Right. Except that a lot of them now they're starting to make connections between the
Yes.
two. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So is that? I don't know. I don't even know if I want to ask a question necessarily, but just from your viewpoint, if you see anything else, I think it's real fun. If there's going to be a lot of just general recognition of Sirius and of the whole connection there.
Some.
Yeah. It'll be kind of just certain people will vibrate to that.
All right.
Well, not all right. I want to hear your opinion.
Why?
Oh, because I love to hear other people's opinions.
Why?
It's enjoyable.
Why?
Well, why else would I come here?
You tell me.
To hear your opinion.
Why would you come here?
It's because I find it real enjoyable to just have this interaction.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. That's all you're going to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we come here so you can reflect us back to ourselves.
All right. What do you do with the reflection?
So therefore, you're going to reflect back whatever information we're really open to receiving.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But we also reflect back to you, right?
Yes.
Whatever information you want to receive at the time?
Yes, in a sense.
In what sense?
In the sense that, in that way, there will be the allowance. In the sense that there will be the allowance of the reflection serving all that is. You follow me?
You could elaborate on that.
No, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Well, wait a minute. Okay.
All right.
We're always going to. Doesn't everything always reflect back to you or us or
Yes.
individuals? So wouldn't we, not in a sense, but for sure, be a reflection of? Okay, wait.
Of whatever aspect in that sense we are interacting with.
Okay.
We say, in a sense, Because there are many different, as you have created them, as we have created them, levels of interaction which may not be being consciously perceived.
Okay, now I understand that. In fact, anything we ever say verbally or you ever say verbally can only be in a sense because
Very good.
there's no way to say in words what all that is. All that is there's so many aspects, and I guess there
Yes.
continues to be new aspects all the time.
Yes.
That there's no way to put it into words.
Yes. Thank you.
So whatever we hear and whatever we take into ourselves is never necessarily the whole truth. It's only what we need at that particular time. But there's like so much. There's always.
Yes.
There's always more.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you wish, in that way, to take your break, or do you wish to continue?
I can take a break. I can take a break. Take a break.
How do you feel?
Oh, perfect. Thank you. But we will then take your break. Thank you. Oh, right, okay. Question.
Yeah, the black bleeding, that dark moon, dark crystalline moon, so there's no sun nearby, is that why it's dark? It's out in the open, away from any sun?
In a sense, it does exist within what you're termed to be a solar system, but in that way, very far in distance from the central star, but dark in the sense of the crystalline material, in that way, of the moon itself, not from lack of light. You follow me?
Yeah.
Question.
Is there a base within the moon? I mean, tunneled in?
Yes. Question.
Is it very large? Holds a lot of people?
There are, in that way, as you count numbers, not that many within that idea. But understand simply that it is in that way, I'll say, approximately 1/3 the size of your own moon. Question.
What about your planet? What is the size compared to our Earth, and what is the population compared to our Earth?
Now, this, I'll say, approximately, same size, very close, within what you term to be, I'll say, 3%, a little bit smaller, little bit, will be, again, as you understand the idea, though there will be some difficulty with the translation of what you term to be numbers in that way, will be, to some degree, approximately 4, I'll say, billion in total, approximately. Though again, upon the surface at any particular time, maybe only 1/4 to 1/3 of the population. You follow me?
Yeah, I guess they travel quite a bit.
Yes. Question.
I'm curious about your talking of the way we consider numbers. Can you, is there any way within our system of conception and language to elaborate on the differences between the way you look at numbers and the way we look at numbers?
You understand that if you allow yourself to become familiar with certain, I'll say, philosophical, as you would term it, branches of what you term to be mathematics or physics, you will understand that there are some concepts within some of those ideas that you are now exploring at this time, which are similar in that way, in which we view the idea of, as you say, numbers. In that there will be whole conceptual identities, groupings, families, more of the idea of relationships, rather than specifically the idea of the discrete numerical notations. You follow me?
What do you mean by discrete?
1, 2, 3.
Right. So it would be, your numerical system would more represent that
Yes.
kind of way of looking at it.
Yes, thank you.
Like one.
Then you'll understand that in that way our mathematics, in that sense, not so much, I'll say, symbolic, though to a degree it is. It is more active.
Oh, God, that's great.
Question.
Could you describe a difference in the way, like, if we have 10 apples on Earth, it's 10 apples, what would you call the number? Would there be any different way of looking at it?
It will be, in that sense, also inclusive of what you would term to be everything looked at as a total equation, rather than simply a set. In other words, there will be the relationship of the perceiver as well as the perceived in the equation. Then the perception in and of itself will have its own mathematics. Therefore, with the single equation describing the perception or the observation or the act itself, you will then automatically contain the formula for the observer and the observed. You follow me?
Yeah, like 10 apples might be not as many apples to an adult as it would be to a child.
Very good! Very good. It will contain that quality of relativity, yes. Very good. Question.
Bashar, have you ever heard of or know anything about a planet or an idea or consciousness or anything that I'll call it an English word, carcel?
Not at this time. Question.
How about a planet in another galaxy called Bonitor?
Also, not at this time, by that terminology. Question.
How about one called Janos? The Janos people, there's a book about it.
In a sense, but we understand that idea quite differently at this time than your interpretation.
Yeah, this book that tells about them, there's a lot of things that sort of don't make sense.
Yes.
I guess it's just a matter of the viewpoint.
In a sense. It is also a matter of the exploration of the idea of what you feel is in that way relevant to your mass consciousness at this time, and what is not relevant. Question.
Sharp?
Yes.
Having to do with your mathematics. In connection with that, is that similar to like our scientists wanting to prove something or get a certain result, and they had to have had the idea first?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way that we tend to look at mathematics, and by we I just mean like how we're taught it in grade school or something at the very simple level, is it's almost a dead subject in a way. In other words, it's very not alive in the sense that it doesn't.
All right, now understand that even in that way, your own, I'll say, scientists recognize that what you term to be mathematics does not describe reality itself.
Right, and that I'm aware of that. Unfortunately, that's not generally taught in our schools. But I'm aware that the scientists are aware of that.
All right. Then simply it will be that what you term to be our mathematics will include the idea of the symbols, but also the idea of the experience as well. And therefore not really, as you understand it, is it mathematics.
Right, because it wouldn't be what they call a pure something or whatever that is, a pure theoretical type of...
All right, in a sense.
Yeah.
Simply, again, we choose the term experiential.
Yes.
Thank you. Question.
To me, when I took geometry in high school, to me that was kind of experiential.
To some degree.
More than regular mathematics where there's just one way to do it and you get one answer, and in geometry there was like different variations.
Yes, because you will be working with the symbols that you call, again, the abstract forms.
Yeah, I love abstract.
Then understand you are working with the symbols that are quite also connected to the idea of the unconscious mind.
always loved abstract paintings. I love music as abstract to me. Things without particular form.
Yes.
My favorite thing.
Yes. Thank you. Question.
I have a question. It appears to me often that I have a lot more wisdom than I operate my daily life with.
Wisdom.
Yes. Knowingness.
What do you feel wisdom is?
That I have it all.
All right. The recognition that you are all that is.
Exactly.
But really, in a sense, you are already perfect. Understand simply that what you term to be wisdom, in that sense, is simply the allowance of yourself to unfold according to your own purpose in that way, to recognize the unfoldment of all reality within its own validity, within its own beingness. Simply to understand the perfect timing of everything. Go ahead.
So is this one of the actual projections of being in physical reality, is to actually experience this unfolding?
Do you mean consciously?
Do I have another choice?
Oh, yes, you may experience it unconsciously if you wish. Not be aware of it.
No, consciously.
All right, then you may. And then that will have purpose. Understand that in the idea of the mass consciousness at this time, one of the ideas you are allowing yourself to experience is the conscious recognition of the creation of your own physical reality. That is why we are able in that way now to interact with you. You follow me?
I think so.
Because you are creating a reality for yourself which allows for the inclusion of the ideas of other consciousness other than your own.
Yes.
Then you are consciously interacting with the idea of the other portions of your own projected consciousness in that way. Recognizing yourself consciously to be all that is, reflecting back to itself. You follow me?
Well, I think so, except my feeling is that I've experienced this before, that I have actually done this before.
Yes.
And so now it's sort of at times burdensome to have to
Burdensome.
recall it again.
Recall. Burdensome. All right. Those are your choices. Now understand, if you have created for yourself the idea of having forgotten and then needing to remember, that in and of itself is your creation and served the purpose. What purpose did it serve?
Acknowledgement, I suppose.
All right, that will be one idea. But simply understand there is no need to judge what you have given yourself.
Oh, I understand.
All right. Then it is only burdensome when you judge it in that way.
Tell me something. You speak about actually, well, this integration that is continuously happening, right?
All right.
This is the very thing of which I speak. That integration that you remind us of.
All right.
Of keeping, shall I say. It seems that we would better communicate with you being fully integrated.
But understand that what you are creating also serves its purpose in the form the communication is also taking now.
Yeah, I understand that.
There is no better. Each and every act is the best possible act that act can be.
Thank you.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Understand also, once again, that you are, as a mass consciousness, changing your ideas of the tools that you need to recognize yourself. Therefore, since you have also created time many times, you will simply also create the idea that it takes a little bit of time to change your habits. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
But understand again that on the way While you are changing your habits, you are still interacting, you are still creating, you are still unfolding, and when you allow that path to be in and of itself valid, and realize it is bringing you more and more and more awareness and information of yourself, then you will enjoy the ride and not feel that you are missing out on something, or forgetting something, or having to do something over and over again. As each and every experience will be in and of itself a new creation. Depends again upon your willingness to have that viewpoint. It is up to you. You have whatever viewpoint you wish.
So if I just decide that I'm going to operate with all of this, wisdom and awareness and be completely integrated, then what happens?
Your life will become an ecstatic explosion of coincidence. There will be no need to force anything to happen. You cannot force anything to happen anyway. You can force something to stay the same. Every idea that needs to happen to fulfill the purpose you have chosen for your life will happen when you allow them to. Not make, allow. Every idea comes complete, with every ingredient necessary for perfect unfoldment when you allow it to unfold. When you focus upon it, separate yourself from the idea with your judgment, then you are not allowing it to unfold. You are focusing upon one frame of your picture and keeping it perfectly still. You are freezing your own momentum in that way.
Thank you.
You have no need to make anything happen. So relax. But enjoy, even when you do freeze a frame. Do not judge your judgment. Then you will understand the reason for which you have created that frozen frame, and you'll be able to enjoy that idea as well. And then the enjoyment of that idea will allow you to move on, because you have let it go. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you through?
No.
All right, go ahead.
In understanding a new idea or picture,
Okay.
you're getting this experience. Well, in getting that, you run across an emotion like, say, anger,
All right.
sorrow,
All right.
and you're suggesting that to allow that to be.
Oh, yes.
And to have that.
Oh, yes. Understand that, in a sense, no emotion is in and of itself negative until you judge it. Then you will create the negative effect. You follow me?
Yes.
Understand that when you allow yourself to live through any experience that you give yourself, it will always give you the positive reason for that experience being there. And you will see it as a part of the unfoldment, not, once again, an interruption. It will be another opportunity to view another portion of your overall consciousness as you have projected that consciousness into your physical reality. Very, very, very enjoyable. Very exciting. Always new, always fresh, always wondrous. Always take it for granted that there is no big deal about being a magnificent creator. That is what you are. And everyone is the same. Everyone is unique. But because everyone is unique, then no one is special. You follow me? But it is all very enjoyable. If you let it be. Oh, thank you. Question.
Now, the belief structure, how is it possible to get all these people on the planet change their belief structure?
All right.
You're doing
All right. One moment. Thank you. Once again, you are not getting anyone to change their belief structure. It is up to them to choose what belief structure they wish. If you change your belief structure, then you will be viewing the facets of those individuals that already exist upon the level that your belief structure now exists. They will seem to have changed, it is you that have changed your view through your facet. You will then see the facet of those individuals that also already exist on those levels. If those individuals are not projecting consciously in that way, through those facets as well, then they will not be perceived by you in that reality.
Okay, there's the alternate universes which occur that way, but is there also alternate mass consciousnesses?
Oh yes.
Some of which haven't changed their belief structure, and some mass consciousnesses that have?
In a sense, that is the idea of the parallel universe. Alternate mass consciousness. You follow me?
Okay, I was just thinking there was just one mass consciousness.
Oh, why? You can perceive of other mass consciousness within your imagination, therefore understand it is within creation. Otherwise you would not perceive it. Thank you. Question.
I'd like to ask some more questions about your children in their childhood. Just on how they unfold as far as, to reach the point of, at being 12 years old, being able to operate independent of the parents. What I'm thinking of is, it seems within our civilization there are certain things that I perceive, like a child that tends to need to be very close to his mother, like for about 3 years. And there seems to be kind of a transition that they go through at that point where they're able to communicate a little more with the outside world, and then they go out, and they kind of go through these things, and they...
All right. May I interrupt you for one moment?
Sure.
Understand that much of what you recognize as, all right, quote unquote, natural child behavior results from the telepathic stimulus sent by the parent within your society at this time for the need of protection.
For the need of whose protection?
The child's.
Oh, no.
There is no need for protection of the child within our civilization. Therefore, there is no need in that way for the child to feel that they must cling. You follow me?
Yeah. Yeah, so what you're saying is that the parents project the idea of the needing protection.
Yes.
Well, how, in your world, could a child go outside and get hit by a car?
If they chose, but not really. Understand again that the idea that we allow within our civilization is the perfect unfoldment of timing.
Well, that's very good. Now, let me speak specifically here. I have a son, and he's 2.5, a little over 2.5.
Yes.
Now, when he was born, I wasn't tuned into the concepts. Well, okay, on some level I probably was, but I wasn't consciously tuned into the concepts that are generally agreed upon by the mass consciousness that, a baby is a baby, and, you better protect him, make sure he doesn't fall on his head, and blah, blah.
Yes.
I had the idea that he was, because I was in communication with him for many months before the birth.
Yes.
And I was actually unaware of the transition he was going to go through when he became physical. I just thought it was going to go exactly the same type of communication we always had. I knew he knew what he was doing here.
All
I
right.
knew I didn't have to worry about him.
All right.
And I didn't have the idea of protecting him.
All right.
And yet several months later, I finally kind of loosened up because I realized I've had these expectations of him.
Yes.
That were, it's like I was not recognizing the fact that when he took on physical form, as a human, that carried with it its own type of unfoldment that I had not been counting on. So I don't feel that I necessarily was projecting that onto him, rather maybe that he was just kind of tuned into the whole mass consciousness, the way that it's perceived.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's more, you're speaking more in general terms than
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have the idea of protection. That's cool. I don't either, and so my son never gets hurt or anything like that.
Thank you.
Cool. Let's see. Okay, now another one is another concept that we have here is that, like, up until about the age of 7, ideally a child should be, they kind of are integrating, they're kind of getting more here, you could say, more focused.
All right, but understand that to some degree, the majority of what you call that physical focus occurs again between the 1st and 3rd years.
Right.
Up to that point, there is for the most part still the option, as you understand it, to leave the physical body.
Very easily.
Yes.
Yes, I'm aware
Without
of that.
the need for what you term to be accident.
Yes, I'm quite aware of that.
All right.
Well, there are some ideas here on this planet that a child really shouldn't be stuck into the kind of schooling. Well, frankly, I don't think they should ever be stuck into the kind of schooling that they are, but that they shouldn't get into this academic schooling prior to the age of 7, just as a generality. That they're kind of integrating. I don't know. It's just sort of more of an integrating of their own beingness or something. I don't know exactly how to describe it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Now, with that kind of thing, ideally, if that occurred the way that it should be, I would think that there would be a lot better connection between the two sides of the brain.
Yes, very good.
Okay.
Understand that in that way, as you understand it, our children are simply, I'll say, very, very, almost imperceptibly blended within the framework of the society in and of itself, as there is no separation between what you term to be the education of the child and the living of the child.
Right. Right. So that in actual fact, if we even right now, within our mental consciousness, let me just kind of put this sort of scenario forth. If you didn't have the idea necessarily of protection of the child was allowed to unfold with its own, with that sense between the parent and the child that he knows exactly what he's doing and he's doing it. And basically nothing was forced on him. He wasn't led in any directions, like as far as academically or whatever. He simply chose his own path. That also within our society, by age 12, just as an average, they'd be ready to roll.
Yes.
Okay.
Understand that individuals always, in that sense, seek out their own learning anyway, and many of your individuals, in that sense, in your terminology, learn far more when they simply go at it on their own.
Most of them do.
Yes.
So it's kind of actually a funny situation that we've created, because we create this big problem with teenagers, and what I perceive when I work with them is the main problem with them is that they're ready to go. They're ready to drive a car, have a job, do everything that we're ready to do.
Yes.
And we put them in this sort of limbo state where they're just scurrying around.
Very good.
Oh, that's very sad.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Question.
Why is it necessary for us to continue to relearn things?
Why do you feel that you have to?
Well, we were just talking about education of children, from one lifetime to the next. There must come a point where that doesn't become necessary anymore.
Are you speaking of the idea of the, I'll say, erasure of what you term to be reincarnation of memory?
Either maybe or the blockage of.
All right, but again, understand that the idea in and of itself of experiencing this particular limited physical idea of consciousness is that you do, in that way, experience yourself as a discrete personality each time. That is simply the idea. Therefore, it will include the idea of not remembering the other discrete personalities.
This is something we've created.
Yes.
Why?
Again, it is simply one way that all that it has of looking at itself. It is an idea.
Are there other densities, as we've been talking about, where this does not occur?
Yes.
How do we get there?
You are there now, and it is not a matter of having to get there. Understand that you have chosen to be here in this way. When you create the impatience of thinking that some place is better than here, you make this place be the worst hell that you can make it. Which it is not. You follow me? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
There are probably a few individuals who come into this life with, all the memories and all the rest, who have chosen to...
To some degree, yes. It does occur within your civilization as well. Question.
Yeah, there's been this concept of implant stations that occur between lives, where between lives a person goes automatically to these stations to receive thought implants,
Thought implants?
Idea implants.
All right.
I know it's all his own story. I'm just asking, do these stations still exist?
Still exist? Understand that they are non-physical. They do not exist in time. Therefore, how can they exist, still exist, not exist? If they exist, they exist.
I see.
But understand the idea in that way is simply a created projection. There is really nowhere to go for that idea. There is the self-created implantation or reorientation from one idea reality to another in that sense. It may involve the interaction with other consciousness as you perceive it, but there is no discrete station. You follow me?
Yeah.
Question.
I'll get in this question. I'm writing my hobby list now.
Are you enjoying your ride?
I'm having a ball.
Thank you.
No. Speaking of my own perceptions of the way that I'm raising my son and the way that we've just been talking about, and I know there's a tendency to go in this direction. Do you perceive like we were talking before about the economic aspect, and that possibly at this time anyway, there's energy behind the idea that within about 25 years, our economic would have shifted to a large degree to more of people really doing what they love to do and a lot of interchange in that way instead of being considered a difficult kind of a thing like it is now.
It is possible, yes.
Okay. Do you perceive anything like that with regard to this whole area that we're talking about as far as schooling? I guess it's kind of like, as regards to schooling and children and young people in general.
It is possible.
Uh-huh.
It will all depend upon your willingness to understand the integration of your consciousness rather than the separation from it. Once you allow yourself that foundation perspective, then any idea which reflects the integration of that idea into your society will be more likely to occur.
In other words, once I integrate the mass consciousness, the fact I don't consider myself separate from,
yes,
then any idea that I have will automatically be able to take place.
Yes. On some level of your consciousness, on some level of your existence, on some level of your reality in that way. Understanding will also afford the opportunity for the sharing of other individuals in the partaking of that mass consciousness as well, if they wish to.
Right, as opposed to if I created the idea of being separate from the mass consciousness, then it's just ideas in my own universe that then they tend to not interact.
In a sense, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bashar?
Oh, what?
I just had a thought on that.
Since we are a part of a facet of the mass consciousness anyway, it's very much like what you said to do whenever you want to help someone, which is not to force anything on them. You just be what you want to be.
Yes.
And you project or you just exude your idea of the perfection.
You offer them that reflection of themselves.
And since they are part of the mass consciousness also, they get it anyway.
Yes.
Right. Whereas if you create the idea that you're some kind of an oddball and you're going to run up into opposition, well, then that's what you'll get.
Yes. Thank you. Question.
Did something happen 7 years ago on the mass consciousness, or to a certain portion of the mass consciousness that increased the rapidity of awareness, a rise in awareness faster than it was going before that?
Why do you feel that was, in that sense, 7 of your years ago?
Well, 2 people that I know about, me being one of them, started getting more aware at that time. So I just wondered if this was a generalized thing.
Would you, in that sense, feel, I'll say, more benefit within your purpose to recognize it as a generalized mass conscious acceleration? You may view it that way if you wish. It will then have some validity in the mass consciousness. Then you will be creating that mass consciousness for yourself. Recognizing that you have created the reality in which 7 of your years ago, your entire mass consciousness accelerated within its understanding of the integration of itself. Then you will be one step, as you say, closer to the idea of experiencing that reality. You follow me?
Yeah. Sort of. I didn't get to answer your question. That's what I hung up on.
Hung up?
Yeah, it sort of hung up my attention.
How high?
A little bit. Not very
All right.
Because I can't remember what you asked me now, but it was, would it benefit? Would it make me feel better or something, right?
Would it feel like, in that sense, it made you identify with the idea that that reality for you on a mass conscious level is becoming, I'll say, quote unquote, more real?
Yeah, I guess it would, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me answer the question.
Thank you for having the knowledge that you have your own answer already.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Question.
Yeah, when we talk about the mass consciousness, it starts seeming a little funny when you're thinking about all the different probabilities and possibilities and parallel universes and whatnot. To really pinpoint, are we really talking about something when we talk about the mass consciousness? Or are we just talking? We're just talking about an idea. And my idea of the mass consciousness is different than somebody else's idea.
Yes, in a sense. But understand again that even if you are discussing different perspectives of the idea of mass consciousness, all of those different ideas and perspectives still makes up the idea of a mass consciousness.
Yeah, I have trouble seeing a homogeneous whole in it.
Perhaps there is no need for you to see it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. But then when we were talking about, the thing of having the idea of separation from mass consciousness.
Yes.
Well, I like that idea, of not considering oneself separate, but yet, sometimes I do,
You must be both. Automatically, understand. If
Oh,
you
yeah,
are not automatically both, you would not be the mass consciousness and you would not be your own identity.
Right, no, but I'm saying that sometimes I tend to identify more strongly with a mass consciousness that's not here on Earth. And
Here?
Yeah, in Earth terms.
All right.
Yeah, I mean.
Sometimes you will form that identification, yes.
Right. So.
Yes, so?
Well.
All right, well.
It's like I really,
Oh, that was a very pretty song.
Thank you. I do better. No, I guess I'm just kind of I try to pinpoint, or not pinpoint exactly, but what are we talking about when we talk about? I mean, all these sessions that we have.
Would you like to meditate for a while?
No. Shit. I meditate all the time.
Oh, really? Understand you are in that way. Also meditating right now.
Yes, I know.
Thank you.
All right. Go on to another question.
Are you sure?
No. Do you want to say anything about it?
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh. You just want me to keep talking?
It is up to you. Do you wish to keep talking?
Sure. I'll talk as long as anybody else.
Why?
Because I like to.
Why?
Well.
To remind yourself of what you know?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Do you need much reminding?
Oh. Well, I actually have the idea that there's a created idea of not knowing everything about Earth consciousness. Therefore, that's why I'm asking questions, because I'm wanting to find out.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you finding that when you ask your questions in that way, that your answers are coming up for you?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Question.
I have a question about gravity.
Yes.
Actually, I don't recall making some agreement to have gravity. No.
You would not recall it consciously, no. Understand that the projection of your consciousness, your whole soul self-consciousness, into the idea of this here and now physical universe, as you understand it as one dimension of the structure of all that is what you term to be a very basic foundation agreement. And you will be far removed, in that sense, from that awareness, consciously, of that agreement, as it forms the basis of the foundation of the perspective of your entire mass consciousness.
Okay, well, how did that all get started?
Started? There is no beginning. It is simply, again, one idea. And it is being experienced by this particular facet of your consciousness.
There was an inception of the idea of gravity?
Inception? No. In a sense, but understand again that that sense can only be within the idea that there is also the creation of time. There is no beginning. The idea of gravity always has been.